welcome back to Mila's Best Life Lately, where I teach you how to live your best life through beauty, glowing up manifestation, and of course, creative writing and pursuing your dreams, because it is attainable for everybody. As you can tell from the bookshelf and the rebrand, we're actually going to do some writing content today, which is super excited. And I'm really excited about this topic because I'm very passionate about it, because along with me having ADHD, I know tons of friends of mine that are neurodivergent, etc., that desperately need these tips, because it's not just about holding yourself accountable. Sometimes us as just people, we love writing, we love reading, but there are just some things that we struggle with. Not all of us, can do that. Some of us have 2 jobs, some of us are full-time college students. It is so reasonable to struggle to finish projects like this, no matter how hard that we love them, and no matter how hard that we really desperately care about them. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna give you actually my top 7-ish tips on how to finish your book, along with explaining why they are really helpful, especially if you're neurodivergent. Even if you're not, some of these ones are actually really, really helpful hacks and mindset shifts, but also just general writing tips in general that will help with productivity. Even if you're not neurodivergent, these are gonna be spectacular. The first one's my favorite, and also the last few are my favorite, which is uber exciting. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Oh, and before, I just want to let you know, I love talking about beauty, self-care, and storytelling and pursuing my dreams. If you want to follow along with that journey, or you want writing tips or beauty tips, or you just like my vibe, you should totally hit the plus, leave a comment, leave a like, and also hit the notification bell on top of that. At the end, I am going to reveal the novel that I'm writing. Yes, I am on the ground. I am very comfy and cozy. I like confined spaces. Yeah, cage emoji. That's not an emoji. I wonder if Apple has to have meetings on what can and cannot be an emoji. I would love to write that scene. That sounds like so much fun. Let's get into it. How to finish your book. Number 1. Step 1 is actually to develop neuro pathways. It is really difficult to do something that we've never done before. So the best, smartest thing, I think Suzanne Collins, this was her tips, and that was complete something small. Basically, whether it's poems or short stories or novellas, I want you to, before your big project, practice small ones, things with a beginning, a middle, and the end. If you want to make a little cover for it, if you want to publish it, that is fine, but you don't have to. I want you to practice with smaller things, because when we have the experience of completing something from beginning to middle to end, it creates this neural pathway where now we know exactly the thoughts and the feelings that are in our body, that are in our brain, that happen when we finish something, that aha moment, rest moment, or whatever you might feel when you finish something like that. It's different for everyone. So of course, when we have experience finishing projects, in our brain, our brains can't really tell what is difficult or what is not. So and what is long or what is not. Our brain does not know time in the way we do, So if it shows that, hey, you've finished things before, you can finish this, and it will make it so much more attainable and easier, because it will feel easier because you've had the experience of finishing things before. And it's a really good practicing, and also not a lot of people know this, but it's a really good way to market your book. The way Sarah J. Maas marketed her book is that she made and wrote short stories and novellas, and she made sure that they were very nice and pretty, and she gave them out for free as a way to basically get people interested in the world she was building, the characters, etc. So it got people really interested and got people to sign up to buy her big girl book, which is super, super cool. So you could always save them for you. You could reuse the same character concept, same story concept, the world you're building if it's romantasy, and you can basically use that as practice and a way to do chemistry tests for your characters if you're writing romance like me. So therefore you can see if general character personalities are compatible. And I love doing this because I am studying theater as well. So we learn about what it means to audition and to be casted. And I think it should be a good practice to come up with different variations of characters slightly for you to basically have them audition and cast. If you really care a lot, I think that would be really cool to do. Really want to have an easy time writing chemistry. That will be another topic later on how to write good chemistry. It requires give and take, but not a battle, and it should never be a back and forth because we've already read that already. It needs to be something a little like a little more. Number 2 is figuring out if you are an architect plotter or a garden plotter. And once you figure out which one you already are, you'll become both. Yes. The reason why I say this is because architects, they like to plan everything in advance before they start writing, while with gardeners, they'll just write. Like they'll just go, ooh, and they'll grow as they go. And I personally think I'm a combo of both. Successful authors know how to navigate and be a combo of both. And it's important to keep in mind that honestly, the first draft is for your eyes only. It is just for your eyes. It doesn't have to be perfect. That might be just a bonus one, but in the end, it doesn't have to be good either. Maybe you have very mechanical writing. Maybe you're maybe you're telling and not showing. Maybe it's just not that pleasing to read. It doesn't matter because that is for you. It is not for a literary agent. It is not for the world. Your first draft is for you to get it all down, and then you go back later and make it all nice and pretty and like beautiful and like make those prose all so gorgeous. I like to write prose in my drafts, and I'll rewrite them because sometimes it can be kind of cringe. Otherwise, that's something to keep in mind that will help you speed write your first draft. It is your draft. It is meant for you. And on top of that, you need to really dig down and really think, how long have you been plotting this versus how long have you been writing it? And is plotting the book getting in the way of you writing? And are you stuck on a very specific thing? That's a plot hole, which means that if you're stuck on like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Go back to the beginning. See if there's opportunities. And sometimes you just need to write, and the opportunities might come. And another thing that's really good for fixing plot holes is to write everything out in act structure. I have 3 acts in my book. Each act will have 3 parts. Each part will have 5 chapters. And since it's dual perspective and fantasy, I am prepared for each chapter to be split up amongst like small chapters. So that's something I am overall prepped for. I feel like plotting will get in the way of you writing. Sometimes it's okay if you only have like 5 chapters plotted. Guess what? Write your 5 chapters and then go from there. And also, if you're experiencing a plot hole, one thing that's really good for new authors and new writers is just to simplify the plot a little. Simplify the plot. And I noticed that when I just took the simplicity out of it, I didn't make it as complex, and I was like, yes, it made it so much easier and it's so much more enjoyable because I actually got to fix my book with one of my favorite tropes that I see in like romance and like also like cheesy stuff like from like kids cartoons like Winx Club or H2O Just Add Water. I'm one of those girls. So you know for a fact for my next book, which is a contemporary magic university setting, you know I'm gonna have a lot of Winx Club kind of stuff. You know I'm gonna have a lot of fairy stuff, and you know for a fact it's gonna be like Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses. I'm just so excited by it. I'm so excited. I have a few on standby. I also have a few like novellas that are smutty that I'm going to be ecstatic to write if I need money, because smut is smut. Oh, I actually already stated number 3, guys, which is it's your first draft. It doesn't have to be pretty. Number 4, if you are allergic to the word goal, if you're allergic to the word responsible, if you're allergic to the word accountable, I get it. Sometimes it does not mean that we're irresponsible, and it does not mean that we're flaky. It just means that there's something deeper where we, in our beautiful brains, kind of struggle to make promises and do work, probably through a form of poverty mindset, where we're always worried of doing too much with little back, and we're always worried of going out of our comfort zone. Now, I want you to change the mindset, and we're going to change some wording. Instead of making a requirement or a goal, let's call it a budget, which means that there's the illusion of a maximum of words. So we're going to have a weekly budget of how many words you want to write a week, how many pages, how many chapters, etc. Whatever level or like baseline you are on. Let's say 1,000 words, that's 2 pages. If it's double spaced, that's 4. Roughly, I believe. We'll get into formatting another time. Doing this budget, now does that mean you have to write a max of 1,000 words? No, if you happen to go over a little, you go over a little. That's the point. It tricks your brain where if you go over, you go over. no questions, no worries. You could have days where you don't write. You could have days where you do. You could have days where you write a paragraph, a word, 2 pages, 5. You can basically have the freedom to delegate throughout the week when you can and when you want to. And I feel like doing something through the terms of a budget is low maintenance and not as scary, especially if we give ourselves the opportunity to be like, it's a budget. It's okay to go over it sometimes. And I think that's one of the most top tier things that you can do, in my opinion. And I tried it. It was so helpful, guys. 5, make no mistake, write shit down, whether it's through journals, whether it's through Notes app, audio messages. I make mistakes where I come up with the best ideas right when I'm about to go to bed, and I'm like, oh, that's so good, I'll forget it. And I like it because everything's simple and not overthought, but it's so good and nice. And I'm like, I'll remember it. And I'm like, no, I do not remember it ever. And I end up only remembering parts of it. I'm like, could I do a meditation? Could I try and like go back and remember what was important? Or did spirit guide not want me to use that idea? Depending on your vibe. Either way, write stuff down. If you have an idea, write it down. You can put it in later. 6 would be celebrate. Yes, celebrate the small successes. I finished that really weird chapter. I finished that good paragraph. I wrote that scene that I was stuck on. I did this. I fixed that plot hole. I plotted this. Celebrate the small successes. Girly pop, go get yourself a treat. Get yourself a Starbucks. Get yourself something pumpkin spice. Go to Ulta. Go to Sephora. Go to Barnes & Nobles. TJ Maxx. Michael's. You know they're all adjacent from each other. I got you. I know it. I get you. Do it. I'm victimized by that combination as well. It's strategic. Number 7 is going to be the very last one. And this was a tip on how I fixed plot holes. The secret, multimedia. Write it down. Write it down. Physically write it down. If you had to physically write step by step what happens and what has to happen, I noticed I was able to fix a plot hole because I was able to simplify the plot on what's important. I'll show you my wall another time of sticky notes of me plotting out everything where, like I said, 3 acts. Each act has 3 parts. Each part has 5 chapters, or at least 5 sticky notes where they get split up into other chapters. That's my baseline. And I plot what needs to happen, and then I write, and then I fill in the blanks. Writing stuff physically down, your plot. Use sticky notes, find multimedia, because digital's fine, digital is great, but something happens in our brain when we write it down physically that just makes it really imprint of like, this is what's happening, and it helps us understand plot holes and everything like that. So that's imperative. Now let's get into the reveal to my book. It is a dark romantasy novel. It is extreme enemies to lovers. They are childhood enemies. It is monsters, it's monster love, it's political intrigue, and there's fae, and there's fashion, and there's danger, and there's so many gorgeous things. And basically it is, if you love The Witcher and you love My Lady Jane, you will love this book. The working title is called Houses of Gilded Creatures. It is dual perspective. It follows the 2 young couple, Lyra and Tomlin, working name, I'll fix that another time. But yeah, basically what happens is that they get forced into an ostentatious marriage to stop the war between their 2 houses. Tomlin comes from the Rivians, which are a noble house that's existed for hundreds and hundreds of years, and Tomlin is the first person within just a regular wealthy house to actually inherit titles. He becomes the Duke of Brimwolf, despite being only 19 years old, which is probably at the hand of his father, which is very sketchy. And then Lyra is the last sole heir to the Maywood fortune because she is the last marriageable person. Otherwise, it's just her step family and so forth. She is not nobility in any way, but she is the last descendant of the Elder Court, which was a magical dictatorship that happened hundreds of years ago, that where all the women had the magic and the men didn't, but yet they had all the control. And basically, they get forced into a marriage to stop the war, but there's more at play. There's more at foot, because she starts realizing that, you know, Maywoods were losing. The Maywoods were losing, and they were losing money, but they owned the press, so they were able to fake a luxury life. They were like the Kardashians of the fantasy world, basically. But the Maywoods were losing, they weren't. Why was this marriage so important to her father-in-law? Why was this so important? Anyway, she now has to be married to the person that she bullied a lot as a child. He is grungy, he's like, I'm mean, and he's like, has a cruel wit, and he's basically all the makings of a mad king, which is so exciting. And he's like, I'm gonna respect you, I'm gonna make this life hard. I'm gonna make this so hard. Like, this is not gonna be fun for us. You know, we don't have to do this. But there's also, then next, you know, it grows into this amount of like respect and friendship, and then secrets are revealed. But she has to hide the fact that she doesn't have her maidenhood anymore, because when her family was going through stressful times, she was coerced into being trained to be a courtesan by her stepmom, which her stepmom holds it against her and everything like that. And she just hopes that Laura just hopes that she'll be basically surrounded by all this wealth, and the wealth will create distance between her and Tomlin and the danger that is afoot. But then when she gets the Brimwolf, she finds her personal power. She has to fight this stalker of sorts that might reveal that past to Tomlin, and knowing for a fact that Tomlin might supposedly kill her. We don't know that. And secretly, Tomlin and his father, as there's a dual perspective, we're going to find out, they're planning something sinister that will help Tom become king. But it might involve the demise and the betrayal of Loira. So, will Tomlin do what he can for power, or will he defy his father and family for the woman he swore to hate? And on Loira's side, she finds out that there are stronger forces at play, magical and non-magical, that want her or Tomlin to betray each other or kill each other. I'm so excited. Yay! No boom. It makes my head tickle. I'm so excited. If you guys are super interested in houses of gilded creatures, please hit the follow, let me know. It's just something I'm so incredibly proud of. And I'm thinking about writing also a contemporary version in a college setting, because we don't have a lot of college settings. They're starting to pop up, but we're missing a lot of college settings. I need more college setting romances, because there's no place for like a 40-year-old woman to be writing something for high schoolers. It just seems weird, and have it definitely not reflect most high school experiences. Maybe in the 80s, but not now. Anyway, guys, this was my top 7-ish tips on how to finish your book, especially if you struggled to finish your works in the past. And I hope you guys have the most amazing day. Remember, I love talking about beauty, self-care, and storytelling. If that's a vibe, hit the plus support. I will let you know about all of my socials, and see you next time. Bye.